ready to start streaming. Oh, okay. Go live. I still have no idea if this has worked. Oh! It's doing something. I don't know. Okay, and I've got audio. Sorry, you guys. That's like the most awkward. It's been a hot minute. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, do I really have to leave it paused on my face looking like that, though? Because that's amazing. Oh, well. It's fine. It's all fine here. Good. Nothing in my teeth. We can turn that off. I'll leave that up. Hello, my fishes. Welcome, welcome. So there is like a little bit of a delay. I'm just going to refresh to make sure that we're okay. Okay, perfect. Hello, my fishes. Courtney Mermaid here, and welcome back to the first Tail Talk Tuesday in a hot freaking minute. It has been so long, and this is really awkward because I don't have like a way to check to see what, if everything's good except for this back here. So hopefully it's all fine, and hopefully nothing weird happens. Obviously, if something goes awry, please let me know, and otherwise we're good. Hello, everyone. It's sort of weird to be doing this live with you guys here, because usually this time of the day I'm getting set up for the Patreon pod live stream, so that's a little crazy. All right, I'm just gonna... Okay, hopefully it's fine. Hopefully I'm centered, and hopefully everything is cool. Who knows? I think I can unpin this now. Oh my gosh, okay, who's here? Katie, hello. Fantastic art, welcome, welcome. Katie, how's it going? Minnesota Mermaid, hello, fishy. Hello, Aragorn, hello. Cam's art blog, Yvonne, hello. Sierra, Cass, hello. How was my mermazing birthday? We don't talk about birthdays. My birthday is what it is. We just let it go. It was actually not a bad one this year. I feel like it was okay. It was good. The day itself was fun, but birthdays are hard for everybody. I'm not always the biggest fan of birthdays. I don't know if there's going to be a Patreon video today. We'll have to see how I feel, because I imagine this will probably go for about an hour or so. It used to be how we would do things here. So we'll have to see how long I decide to go for. Sorry, if I'm looking over here, it's the chat. So that's what's happening over there. You try to line these things up, but you guys are on a tripod, so there's nowhere for me to actually put the thing. So hopefully it's fine. I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. Hello, everyone. Butterfly Fluff. Oh, that's cute. Jackie Allen. Hello. Sodium, I'm not sure, Rectide, maybe, is that a thing? I'm not sure, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Yay, Courtney, hello. Demon or Damonatrix, hello. Tori, hi. Kim, hello. Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, we're still a little bit early, so just make yourselves at home, get a beverage. Water is always good. I just finished my tea. Get a snack. I had a big spoonful of peanut butter because I actually forgot to make myself a snack, because winning at life. And hopefully it's all good. So I asked on Instagram. I collected a bunch of questions from you guys. So I'm gonna go see what the scoop is, how many people left me responses. Oh, quite a few. Oh, yes. Oh, good. So, yeah. Yes, Sierra, I definitely appreciate you sharing information. I don't know that Tail Talk Tuesday is the place to do that, though. So let's keep things mermaid related. Not to say that the rest of the world isn't important. It definitely is. But we're having a happy moment in time for the next hour. But you're definitely welcome to share that elsewhere in other places. Thank you. Oh, this is Mer Kim, by the way. The Mer Kim. like Merkim, who saved the day with my sewing machine yesterday, who taught me that there's like a little thread cutter on the side of my sewing machine. You guys, like, if you could have been there, I have it recorded and it's up in the Patreon pod, but like, that was, oh my, that was pretty good. Hello, Dana. Hello, hello. Oh, happy vibes for the Q&A. Oh, yes. Welcome, welcome. Oh, no, no power. Your battery is dying. Oh, that's okay. No worries. Hey, Snoopy. How's it going? The thread cutter debacle. Yes, that was hysterical. I've never in my life, I'm just, like, I'm still not over it. Like, I went and rewatched that part of the live stream, and, like, the look on my face just says it all. Just, like, Courtney losing her nuggets, like, completely. Oh, it was so good, though. Excellent, 11 a.m. I guess we can kind of start in if you're new and you haven't been to one of our Tale Talk Tuesdays before. I used to do this all the time back in, like, what, 2016 or 2015 or 16 or 17, somewhere in there. We used to do these every Tuesday at, like, 8 p.m. I would have done this one late in the evening, but unfortunately my neighbor with the thumping music it just wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be enjoyable for me. I don't think it would pick up on the microphone, but still, just it's not the vibe. So yeah, Tale Talk Tuesday is basically just a place, ask your mermaid questions. You want help with something, you got a question, you want to know about something mermaid related. I have lots of questions from you guys already that I can go through and answer as well. And it's just a place for all things mermaid. That's basically what Tale Talk Tuesday was always meant to be. Sometimes we used to have, way before the plague. Yes, yes. Well, I stopped doing them. I guess I do most of my live streaming. Like, I live stream almost every day on the Patreon pod now. So that's where most of this kind of happens. And usually we're situated facing the other way. And I'm sewing mermaid tails and having a merry time with my fishes. And it's really good. But yeah, so, okay, I'll just, casually start to go through these. If you have other questions you want me to answer or anything like that, like, fire away, do the thing. Okay, so the first question I have here I'm just gonna see if I can understand because it's a little bit. Okay, so I think the question is how long does it usually take to make a tail for my store, and whether or not I make it all by hand. Okay. So thank you so much. Is this Phil Kramer 45? Thank you for your question. Yes, so all my tails are made by hand by me. So are the arm fins, the cuffs, and the fin skins. They're all made by me. So it was actually a question that I had a couple of times over on TikTok recently was like, oh, what website are you getting your fabric from? And like the printed fabric from? And like, where are you downloading your designs and stuff? No. I make it all. I do it all from start to finish. A whole thing, every scale, every little bit of detail, that's all from me. So that's how that happens. And on average, like what takes a long time, or what used to take a long time, was the back and forth between measurements, and some things will take a little bit longer depending on whether it's a custom order or whatnot. Like 10 to 12 weeks for back and forth, and also waiting for stuff to come back from my printer, and then the actual sewing. I can get through the tails pretty quick. I do between 2 and 3 tails per week, usually about 2. And then like miscellaneous, like smaller items as well per week. So that kind of gives you an idea. Patreon pod for the win. Yes, fish! Love the pod. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you like it. That makes me so happy. I wanted it to be just like a safe little community for everyone. The Patreon pod's pretty good. I'm a pretty big fan. Okay, Water Hiker wants to know, have I ever seen the 13th Year movie? Of course I have, Fishy. Of course I have. It's one of my absolute favorite movies. The actress actually who plays and I can't think of her name now, the character's name. She's actually named Courtney, which is pretty funny. With her beautiful, like, red hair. I've always wanted, like, red hair. Just give me red hair, please. Yeah, but I've seen it so many times. I remember, like, step by step on my VHS copy, trying to see the mermaid tails in, like, really great detail, trying to figure things out. Like, how are they doing this? Like, what is this? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan. The music. So what I did, right? I played the movie, and then this is how old I am, and I put in a blank cassette, a cassette, mind you, into my little stereo box thing, and I hit record, and I put it right up against the TV speaker so that I could record the music, because they never released just the music. I think if there were any songs, those are out somewhere floating on the internet, but the actual score of that movie is like not available anywhere. Sorry, my nose is totally driving me crazy. Give me just a second so I can just deal with my nose. I mean, honestly, this is like, the theme is Courtney and her freaking nose. That's where we're at. Am I like still good? Yeah, we're good. We're golden. You love my, okay, so the shirt is, difficult to motivate. I don't know, hopefully you can see that from where it is. And this was by the Save the Mermaids podcast, which if you haven't been listening to, it's not my podcast, it's, but it's an amazing, mermazing, God, you have to go and just binge listen to all of it. I think they actually have a YouTube channel, which I didn't know that there was also a YouTube component, so now I'm gonna have to find them and stalk them, because, yes. I used to watch movies solely from a VHS player when I was little. Yep, me too. I have quite the collection of VHS movies. Okay, thoughts on the new Little Mermaid coming out, also from Water Hiker. I'm excited. I'm nervous-sighted about the tail. I haven't seen anything for the tail design yet. And I'm just like, please let it be like a really good mix of like real and CG. Please don't let it just be CG. I will cry. Like, I will have a moment. And it won't be good. But I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be amazing, and I'm so stoked. Okay, Keto asks, what is my #1 fabric tail care tip? Oh, I have so many, though. As a tail maker, I just have so many. Okay. Fabric care. Okay, hang on. I can do this. Okay, the #1 is to be aware of the materials that you're swimming on or that you're going to be around. Like, is it a rough surface that you're going to be around? And then doing everything in your power to safely avoid scuffing your tail on the bottom of the pool. And it's really hard, right? Because we don't have feeling in our flukes. Like, it's a big rubber fin or silicone fin or whatever. So you don't have feeling in it. It's hard to know when you've actually done it. But like, being really aware, even if you can film yourself and look back, and you might not even realize that you were scuffing up your tail, and you were. So that, like, having a towel with you or something to sit on that's not an abrasive, because even some towels can be really a rough texture. You want something really soft, really smooth. Yoga mats can also be a bit too much. Like, you don't want something sticky. You want something soft and smooth to sit on, is probably my #1 tip. And then I have many, many, many other tips. Like, always rinse your tail out. Always rinse your tail out. Always hang your tail to dry. Like, if you can lay it flat, that's ideal. I've been recently, because Chester is, I'll show you guys Chester. I'll bring Chester over. Hang on. Because Chester is really heavy, when he's wet, Chester needs to be hung differently, because Chester is almost too heavy for my, what's it called? The drying rack that I use, and it's starting to, like, bow the drying rack, which is, like, a nightmare. So I actually take 2 hangers. I dry it in the bathroom, laid out on that drying rack to sort of get most of the water out, and then I hang half of it on one hanger, half of it on the other hanger, and I let it drip dry like that, because poor Chester. Poor Chester. Yeah, yoga mats will work well in some instances, but because if this is the mat and you, like push your tail on it or, like, rub your tail on it, you'll actually, like, burn the tail. Not really burn the tail, but you can damage it, actually, that way as well. It's a little known fact, but there you go. But yeah, so Chester is super, super heavy, so that's the thing. And rinsing this tail out is a lot of fun. No, actually. I think this is really, like, terrible to say. I think I actually rather rinse and wash out my silicone tail than this one. because it's so heavy when it's full of water to like squeeze all the water out. Oh my gosh. Chester is a big boy. Yes, Chester is magical. I've tagged the podcast for later listening and see they have an episode about the Warsaw Siren. Yeah, there's some really good ones in there. I really like this Save the Mermaids podcast is amazing because it's like the perfect combination, and I was saying this to the Patreon pod yesterday, I think. It's like the perfect combination of just like water women talking about how the ocean is very healing, and then conservation efforts, lifestyle, fantasy with the mermaid element, and also talking about a lot of the sea life and creatures underwater. And I'm just like, yes, this is the content that I have been wanting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, very good. Definitely the most realistic fabric mermaid tail in existence right now. Thank you. I do love my baby. My baby is so beautiful. I think it turned out really, really well. I tried to make things like just as blendy and like matchy as humanly possible, and I think everyone loves these little fins. Everyone loves these. They're like, oh my god, they're so realistic. They were such a nightmare to sew. Do you even understand? Like this, I cried over this. This was horrible. These were such a, oh my gosh. But you know what? They turned out beautiful, so I'm very happy with that. Okay, do you have ideas for protecting fabric tails in places like lakes, beaches, and rivers? Yes. So, first things first, always have a really good spot remover. I use Shout, and Shout, like, has saved my tails many, many times. Be aware of the kind of fabric tail, like what the fabric of your tail is actually made of. If it's gonna have, like, mine have a water repellent coating, they're very thick. I don't find that these tails of mine are as likely to stain when I bring them. Like, obviously, if you've got white on your tail, it could potentially get stained by algae or mud or dirt or other substances and whatnot. But always have a really good spot remover on hand, and don't let the tail dry out before you get that stain out. So like always have with you your watertight bag. So you take off your tail, put it in the watertight bag. When you get home, rinse it out, give it its bath in its swimsuit detergent or like a mild detergent, and then use your spot remover and get in there right away with that gentle bristled toothbrush and just kind of go back and forth and try and work it out. As far as like other things, like some of the weirdest stuff that's happened to me is I've had like, what are they called? The little mussels actually attach themselves. Like I was doing a photo shoot once at Lighthouse Park, and it's very rocky and there's lots of little mussels and little critters. And one actually attached itself to my tail, which I thought was so bizarre. I'm like, okay, well, you're coming along for a ride, sure. But when I pulled it off, it left, I think, a little bit of a hole. So, you know, keeping an eye on little nicks and tears and stuff and repairing them right away when you get home is always really important. It's more like the after swim care, I think, is the only real thing. Otherwise, like having a tarp or a really huge towel so that you can kind of shuffle around on that, and then having like obviously the towels that you sit on are different than the towels that you dry off with. I think that's probably, yeah. And then it doesn't hurt to have like your grubby tail that you bring to the beach. Your tail that you're not like too worried about, you know? Like I'm actually planning on making eventually a second one of this tail. And thanks to the Patreon pod, I'm actually planning on making another one of these, of this tail, but with just like the simple Luna shape, like my classic Chester. So I'm kind of excited about that. So it's gonna be good. What kind of zipper? These are YKK, I think. Invisible, where the hell is it? Okay, that's how good my zippers are. She can't tell what side it's on. Here it is. Zippers. This one is the longest zipper I think you can actually get. Invisible zipper. I think these are 70 centimeters. It varies depending on what monofin, like for the Makina, if it has an expanded fluke, we'll get the 55 centimeter. For the Luna, also the 55 centimeter, and for the Linden would also be the 55 centimeter, but it depends on whether or not it's an expanded fluke shape. Like if this extra stuff goes all the way around, that changes the kind of zipper that I use. And in this instance, I made sure I always do like my excess off the Lucia at the bottom so that, You see, this is where the Lucia sits. So that way I can use the full zipper, because the Lucia is not as flexible as the Makina or the Luna and really needs the big zipper. Really needs the big zipper. But yeah, this is just right there. Some of the smaller zips I can get matching colors. For the big zips, they have to be either black or white. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but I try to plan that as part of the thing. I'm like, is it going to be a dark? Is it going to be lighter? Is it, you know, what is it? And if you really wanted to, you could probably get nail polish and just like color it to match, but that's basically what it looks like. Okay, will I ever do fin skins in the Pirates of the Caribbean mermaid design? At the moment, probably not. I think anything that I've done thus far is going to be just, that's sort of finished now. I'll be explaining this actually in the next vlog. I'll be talking a little bit about some of the changes that are going to happen. So I don't want to like do it twice, but yeah. Okay, I'm just going to go really quick and answer a couple more off of Instagram, and then I'm going to scroll back up to where I left off. There. Okay. So the next one, let's answer. Oh gosh, what is it doing here? Okay. So Robert, I'm so sorry, or Roberto, Viet, I'm so sorry if I got that horribly wrong. I did try though. Okay. How did I ever start making mermaid tails, and what was the reason for it? Well, how did I start making mermaid tails? I'm not even sure. I started making mermaid tails because I just really wanted one and was really sick of the fact that I couldn't find how the ones in movies were made. You know, back when I was looking into this for the first time, we didn't have internet back then, so it wasn't as easy to just go and be like, okay, how are mermaid tails made? Like, you had to go to the library to look this stuff up. Like, how are they making mermaid tails? I don't know. And eventually, I was like, I could probably just make this out of fabric. I don't know why it took me so long for that to, like, occur to me, because by 2006, I was like, no, we're doing this. Like, we're doing this. We're figuring this out. I have this scrap, like, piece of a dress that I turned into, like, half a mermaid tail, and it kind of just sort of all fell together. I found, my greatest passion and never looked back, really. So that's, like, the short version of that story. I think there's a video on my channel that goes into way more detail. Okay, do I have any mermaid events coming up from Nerdmaid Faith? No, I do not have any real events coming up, just some life stuff coming up and trying to get through the rest of my orders and waiting on my fin skins to come in hopefully this week, so that'll be good. Water Hiker also wants to know thoughts on being a permanent mermaid forever. I think I would rather if I could be both, if I could be human and a mermaid, because I would miss my peoples. Like, I would miss, like, my family and my friends and things. I think if we all just, like, snapped our fingers and everybody was mermaids, maybe I could get by with that, but then, like, Alfie would have to be, like, a seal, because I couldn't say goodbye to Alfie. I couldn't do it. Where do you find your inspiration? By Heather Arledge. Again, I do apologize if I get any of these horribly wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best. Where do I get my inspiration from? This is such a loaded question, because there has just been so much rage for me around like other makers recently and like other people and things. So I don't get my inspiration from other tail makers. Let's pin that to the top of the conversation, shall we? Where do I get my inspiration? It really depends. Probably from real life being the largest kind of source of inspiration. When somebody says to me, for example, I want a sunset tail and I want it purple and orange and these things, like sunset inspired fantasy, and I'll ask different questions. I've got like a questionnaire that people fill out. How much sparkle and stuff do you want? And that kind of helps guide me with my inspiration. But I'll definitely look up actual color palettes from nature. And for me, it's more about being inspired by a feeling, and then how do I use my skill as an artist to recreate that? So that's like the long answer to that. But yeah, I get so sad when I see people making comments like, oh, it's totally okay to get inspiration from other tail makers, because, you know, yeah, you can't reinvent the wheel. But like, you know. Okay, Adam JRC wants to know, do you feel your identity is more apparent as a mermaid or as a mermaid tail designer? That's tough. I think I'm a mermaid first and foremost, but I'm also an artist mermaid. Like it's linked, because my actual interest in mermaiding is definitely around, it's like a combo of making the thing and then using the thing. So it's like a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Okay, so I've gotten through a few of these. Okay, last one, because then it's an even line. What's my favorite mermaid tail that I've ever made? From CLB Knits 25. My favorite mermaid tail that I've ever made is the original version of Chester, which is down here, which I can dig. You guys have seen this tail hundreds of times now, I'm sure. This is my favorite tail that I've ever made. It's so simple, but it's my baby. It just smells like summer sunshine and swimming pool happiness. This is my favorite tail of all time. The original Chester. And I just, like, it's terrible, but if I was only allowed to keep one tail, this is probably the tail that I would keep. I have so many good memories with that tail. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the comment section on YouTube. We're going to go through a few more of these. Katie says the new Chester is incredible. Thank you so much. I answered the zipper question. Do I have any tips for beginner mermaids that want to turn a hobby into a business? So the first thing that you're going to want to do is kind of figure out what need are you going to fill as a mermaid. You know, are you going to be an entertainer? Are you going to be a tail maker? Are you going to be, what are you going to do? What is the problem you're going to help somebody solve? And that's like the most broad way of kind of explaining it. Like, I help people become mermaids. That's what I do. And then it depends. Like, I have different, like, this is more about education and entertainment. I have 3 different TikToks that each serve a purpose, but like, I know what the purpose is for each thing, and I kind of outlined that for myself. But at its absolute core, you need to know what is the thing that you're going to help people do, because if you're going to turn it into a job, there you have to have something that somebody wants, or something that somebody needs. A need is even better than a want. Very important. If you guys want a video on that, like on how I turned this hobby of mine into a business, I've never really talked about the actual details of like, how much money did I save? How much money do I, you know, earn off of my social media and such, and how I actually constructed my business and how I do it the way that I do it and things like that. If that's something that you guys want, you can always leave me a comment and let me know, and we can maybe do a video in the future. I don't know if that's something that anybody's interested in, but maybe it is. I think it's something that I'd be interested if I was looking, you know, ye old Google search. Okay, aside from possible obvious safety issues, how would you go about creating a one-piece tail? Like it's a bathing suit turning into a tail. So I love that idea. And if you know, and you've been around, you know that I love a high-waisted tail. Right into my top. Amazing. Yes. So good. So we'll use Chester for an example for this one, because I happen to have this drawer open and I can see all of the stuff. So this is the top for Chester. And like, it's gonna depend, okay? Because obviously it's not acceptable in society to just like whip the boobs out, right? So like, I'm not gonna, you know, a bathing suit, to get out of it at the pool, you'd have to take it down and then, hi, hello. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you want that one-piece mermaid, oh, so good look, because it's my favorite, I love it so much. You got your top, have a top that comes down a little bit lower, and make sure that your blending is matchy-matchy with your mermaid tail. This one's a little bit, obviously, not exact, because I was still baby designer Courtney. Okay? But, like, that's the idea, right? That's the idea. So, like, it comes... How about this side's better? Like that. Okay? So you have your tail come up nice and high. Say your tail comes up to just under your rib cage, and have the top come down a little bit below that, and then just hike it up and have one fold over the other, and then that way you got that one piece, beautiful kiss 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 look, but then you're not having to like get naked every time you want to get out of your mermaid tail, because like I could see that being a bit awkward. I don't think my friends would like that very much. You're too scared to swim in the ocean in your tail. Oh no, I just totally lost my spot. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, I can feel that. Honestly, I get pretty nervous swimming in wild waters too, and I haven't actually done like a dive out in the ocean. I've only done like swimming in lakes, really. So it's something that I really want to try, but I too am very nervous, especially when I can't see where I'm going. Like the first time I went underwater at a lake and I didn't have goggles with me, and thank goodness Mermaid Biosa lent me a pair of her goggles. She just lent me her goggles because she's so brave. And I looked and you can't even see like past your hand. I'm like, no, this is so scary. I am adventurous, but to a point, okay? I imagine you could anchor a tarp too for sort of a water landing pad. Yes, absolutely, you totally could. You could actually put something and then kind of like paddle your way onto it and just kind of pull your tail and yourself like onto it as you're getting into the shallow end of the water, maybe? Yeah. Why not? What's going on here? Okay. I keep floating to the surface when I try to swim. Any advice, please? So I also am a floater. I used to not be as much of a floater, and I am now. Unfortunately, any of the advice that I could give would be best used in an instance where you've had freediving training so that you can best equip yourself and you have the knowledge for how to deal with it, because a lot of people on the internet, unfortunately, and regardless of whether or not they're able to do it themselves and are safe doing it, stick as many pins in that as you would like, but jamming a bunch of weight into your tail, you need to know what you're doing. Like there needs to be some training behind that. Like you need to be aware that like the heavier you make yourself, the deeper you go, the spookier it is. And yes, you want to kind of balance yourself out to be like neutrally buoyant. And it's also going to depend a lot on like the kind of monofin that you're going to use. Like I sink like a rock when I wear my Mertailor Fantasy 1. That thing sinks. Like it just gone. And if I wear the Luna, I'm a little bit less. And then the Lucia is probably, I feel a lot more floaty in that fin. You can see it in my videos. I'm also very out of practice. Health stuff, asterisks, right? So I'm not like super in shape for what it is that I'm doing right now, but I'm definitely a lot floatier in that fin. Okay. Question for you, Courtney. I'm looking to make a jellyfish-inspired fabric tail. Would you recommend power mesh for floatier extra fins? Ooh, I have never worked with power mesh before. I feel like if you think it will give you that look underwater, I would recommend maybe doing a couple of tests. You can even do them in your bathtub, like getting a piece, cutting it the way you'd like to. If you have to finish the ends of power mesh, I'm not totally sure if it frays or whatnot, because I've only ever seen it like jammed inside of silicone. Like I've never actually held power mesh in my hands and been like, yo, actually, is that a lie? Do I have some somewhere? No. Do I? Why do I feel like I actually do have some somewhere all of a sudden that I just am not aware of? No, okay, well, I'm not gonna go digging for it now. But do some tests and like trail it in the water and see if it gives you, see how much drag it has, see if it's gonna hold up, stretch it, try and ruin it, basically, and see if it's gonna do the job. That's always my best, like, advice if you're ever gonna be testing anything new. That's the way to do it. Okay. Beginner tricks and tips. I do have a couple of videos actually floating around on my channel that will give you more of a visual. Mermaid tricks are kind of hard to talk about like visually without showing like an overlay of what it is that I'm talking about, but I do have a couple of good tricks. There's like off the wall turns and bubble rings and back flips and front flips and all of this good stuff. So I think I have it in a playlist on my main channel page, like on the main page if you scroll down. Mermaid Chimera popping in to say hi. Made my first mermaid tail from a pair of tights. Yes, fish. Love it. H2O got it right with being half human, half mermaid. I feel like they did. Like, Asterix, how do they shower and bathe and, like, shave and, you know, brush their teeth and stuff? I like, there's just, I would really like for it. I feel like Siren made sense, right? Slight spoiler. The show's been out for a few years now, so if you don't know, they need a specific kind of water to change in. So it's not like all water. It's not like pool water or like the shower, you know? So. Okay, on the topic of inspiration for tales, how do you feel about recreating, putting your own spin on famous tales like Ariel, Splash, and H2O? I actually did that recently with the Pirate Dreams launch. Those are my interpretation. Basically, what I try to do is I try to say, loosely, this was the inspiration, and if I was gonna be the actual tale maker, it's like, what would I have done differently? How would I have done it? Because I have a couple up on the wall that are getting sewn this week, so I don't have mine like super handy, but I actually I think I do. Is it actually still up there? Hang on. Let's grab it and let's talk about it, because it's a really good point that you bring up. Because obviously I say, like, don't take inspiration from other tale makers, and then, like, I did this, right? So, like, I get it. This is my interpretation. Like, if you put this next to the actual tales that are in the movie, it's more that the energy than them actually looking identical. Because I made a lot of changes. There were things about those tales that I didn't like. There were some things that I did like. And for me, it's more about, like I said before, the feeling. How do you feel when you're looking at something and taking that and recreating it? Because I also made a green version and a red version, which didn't exist in the Pirates of the Caribbean film, right? Movies. Their tales were probably closer to this with more red and a little bit of green. So they were, and I decided I wanted 3 different color variations. So that was also my kind of interpretation of it. I also love this tale. I haven't been swimming enough, and I think I've only been in this thing, I think, 3 times? It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, yo. Okay, I'm slowly catching up, I swear. Hi from the Netherlands. Hello, hello. That'd be useful as I'm trying to start up a small business and I don't know where to start. Yes. Oh, my question was about, okay. Would love a video with advice on how I turned it into a business. Okay, that's good, you guys. Thank you. Oh, yes. Okay, well, then maybe I'll put something together. You know, maybe you guys leave me, like, if you have specific questions, then I can maybe create, like, a chapter list and sort of cover as much as I can. Watching this as I clean up from Easter Sunday. Oh, yes. Hello, Faith. How's it going? Have I ever designed tales for any trans clients? If so, what kind of things did you have to take into consideration, and how did you accommodate them? So absolutely I have. And the thing is, like, what I'm looking for from a client is I'm looking for their sort of their spirit, their essence. So I'll make tales for everybody. All kinds of mermaids, whatever you got, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever point you are at in your life. And I've made tales for so many different people all over the world, all with different stories, because it's our differences that bring something really special to the mermaid tale and the whole making experience. So a custom tale for me is custom from the ground up, and we can make it as custom as you want. So you can leave as much of it up to me as you feel like you want. You know, we can go right down to custom scales. I have a whole breakdown and everything over on vancouvermermaid.ca. You can go check it out. And the thing is, like, I want the tale to be very reflective of the person that I'm making a tale for. So there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of this. So there's the initial application form, then there's another form that kind of breaks it down one step further. And we have a real back and forth. I have software that I use, like a chat platform, so that we can have that immediate messaging system. So as I'm working, as I have questions, as I have thoughts, I take this like to a bit of another level. I think, you know, in part it's my neurodiversity speaking, and in another part, this is what I would want if I was getting somebody to make a tale for me. I would want them to take it as seriously as I would take it seriously. Like, I want this to be a little bit more of a spiritual experience than just ordering a tale. And that's not for everybody, and I can totally appreciate that. And that's why there's lots of tale makers out there doing their thing, and you can find a tale for any budget, really, and any kind of experience that you want. But when I was kind of developing my system of making custom mermaid tales, I wanted it to be a really immersive experience. So I think I'm like answering like 5 or 6 questions here in one. I'm sorry if I just went off on like a massive tangent. But all merfolk are welcome, and I'm so happy to get to know people, and I have gotten to know so many amazing mers through this, and it's just been a really good experience. So I don't know, if you want more information and all of the details and all of the things, it's under Bespoke Mermaid Tales at vancouvermermaid.ca or .com. They're interchangeable, but yeah. Okay, I hope that helped clear that up. Thank you for your valuable feedback. I have some ideas regarding a one-piece tail, top and bottom, underneath. Yes, okay, so to prevent the nakedness, I was gonna say that's the other thing that you could do, is like you could have like a bandeau or something underneath, or like pasties, or I don't know what, like, but yeah. A one piece would be kind of cool. I would love to see, honestly, if you do it, I would love to see. Be sure to tag me so that I can see what you did! Okay, Katie did send me a swatch. I have a feeling it's in like one of those 3 bins. I don't know for sure. So that's where I was like, oh, I think I have one somewhere. Oh, my nose. Sorry, guys. There we go. Hello from Finland. Hello, fishy. Aw, thank you. Saving up money to buy a tail from you. Your work is amazing. Thank you so much. Off-the-wall flips are tough to get the hang of. I'm still working on mine after 6 weeks of Sundays. Excellent. You know what they are? And I think once I kind of like let go of gravity, excuse me, and just kind of make it happen. Also, doing your practice flips without a tail, and just getting, or even without a fin, just get super comfortable in just that like flippy, spinny off the wall. So, yes. The different water actually makes sense. I can't remember what that was, what I was talking about there, but yes, I'm glad it made sense. I would love for the Pirate Dream Tales to be a continuous thing. I have been getting a lot of messages about that, and I'm like, I don't think I would bring back these exact colors, but I may use this base and do a new design. It's just because I am putting more detail into everything than I've been putting in previously, so I don't think I would ever do one exactly like this again, but I may use, if you guys really like the fluke shape, because I think that's what everybody's nuts about. The side fins are also really nice in the water. Like, when you first look, you're like, oh, how's this gonna work? Like, how is that gonna be a thing? But it creates so much nice extra movement around your hips. This is really good. So, but yeah, if people really did like this shape and do want me to bring the shape back, I can do that, but I'm putting so much detail because it's really funny. Like, I thought this was the most detailed tail I'd ever made until I made Chester, and now I'm like, oh, no, it's not. Like, I can make more detail. Like, oopsie, you know. Gotta do a siren swim with mine and yours. Oh gosh, what are we talking about? The siren tails? Oh yes. I've kind of retired that one. I'd have to make, and I am planning, oh, spoiler. I am planning another siren tail that I will actually make available in the shop, but we'll have to see when that's gonna happen. Okay. Did I miss the question about the custom thing for Monofin thing? I don't remember. the names still. Was that in my thumbnail? Because I've been trying to catch up on your guys' messages, and I think I'm almost there, so I'm gonna blast through and try and catch up, and then I will answer some more from here. Hang on. Hello from Germany. Hello, hello. Oh, look, we've got a full house. I love it. Finland sounds like the most mermaid place in the world. Yes, it does. Definitely try it. Yeah, Purple Pirate Dream. Oh, gosh, yes. Would you be open to having the same base always available in the shop but offer different colors? Because this is my art, it's not really like I'm not doing this necessarily like how other companies are doing it, like FinFun or Mertailor, or like I don't want to have just the same base for every single one. I like them to be special. So yeah, I will be discussing that in next week's vlog, like what I actually plan to do, because my business model is gonna change. I talked about it with the Patreon pod yesterday, I think, a little bit. And they seem to be on board. We'll see how everybody feels about it. But I am going to be changing things just a little bit moving forward. Okay. Here we go. So, Lydia the Glimmermaid wants to know, any new hair care tips since your last video? Really, I've switched to last year, actually. So I've just come up on a year of using Function of Beauty. Not sponsored. Maybe one day. And I did a year of that. And I also recently cut off like a couple of inches. So like that much of my hair, because mermaiding is brutal on your hair, like really brutal on your hair. And I haven't really found the best way to deal with that, short of like putting conditioner in your hair before you swim, or even just like coconut oil or something on the tips of your hair. And then I've been trying out a couple of different hairstyles, because my favorite hairstyle, which is the bubble braid one, where I put it like part up and then they're like bubbles down the back of my head, which I love. It's like my Ray hair, is really damaging to your hair. So I have like a bunch of hair at the top of my head that's like short because of how tightly I had to tie it to get it to stay. So it ripped out a bunch of my hair, and that's kind of sad. So nothing like major. I have been using a couple of different deep conditioners and things, also from masks and such from Function of Beauty. So I do plan to do a video about that. I just got so sick of seeing ads for Function of Beauty that I just was like, fine, I'll spend $100 and I'm gonna buy all this stuff. And I ended up using it for a full year, like 1 tube of shampoo and 1 tube of conditioner. I'm still not finished the shampoo. Like it's been a full year. It's crazy. Okay, so there's that. Why do I put zips in my tails? Are the ends of your flukes now closed in the latest tail gens? From non-binary Aragorn. Yes. So all of these flukes are all actually sewn all the way around. Okay, listen. You know I love me some drainage, right? For whatever reason, it works without drainage in this style of tail, which is why I do a pocket. Let me continue. Okay, so hang on. It's probably the best one to show. So I still do open bottom flukes. I still do. This is the open bottom fluke, basically, where it's just like you open it at the bottom and you stick the monofin in like that, right? Which is great. They're great. But to do an expanded fluke, like a larger fluke shape, you're really gonna need it to be closed. And everyone fancies themselves an expert on this, and I promised myself I was going to talk about the drama. There was drama. Not me-related drama. Drama for another company. Very upsetting. But what I do is I create a very tight pocket. And that pocket, if I can find my zipper, again with the zippers. 1 second. So there's the zipper. So the zipper runs along the side of the monofin. And as long as you install your zipper as close to the top or a little bit higher than your monofin, then you shouldn't have a problem getting it in. You get it in, and it fits right into this little pocket here. You can see this, there's a line right here. That way, it keeps the monofin in place. It doesn't allow billowing and having like a bunch of water collect. And I actually sew, so I sew all the way around the outside, and then I actually sew lines that help keep the fabric together so that it doesn't pull apart. So that it doesn't really pull apart and fill with air and water. So that's how this works. Anything with a zipper will be a closed fluke. I've only done one tail that had that had a fringe, was also sewn and had a zipper, and that was a bit of an odd one. I don't think I'll do that one again. It turned out great, and the client loved it, but it was a little bit unusual for me. I would have liked the two sides to kind of stay together. The zipper just means, in terms of like the longevity of your tail, the functionality of your tail, I feel like for the expanded flukes, it's just a better way to go. You're not going to have this big gaping open situation. It just makes sense. Okay. Where did I get to? So that was that one. Okay. Cora Mermaid wants to know, are there any video ideas or projects that you've wanted to do for a long time? Yeah, so many. so many. But nothing I can really like bring up now because I don't want to get like hopes up that I'm going to do all of these things and then not actually do them. But let's just say this is going to be a big summer, I hope. Knock on wood and my head and all of the things, that it's just going to go really well. We'll see how it goes. Okay, next question is, what's your dream swimming spot? Also from Cora Mermaid. My dream swimming spot? There's actually a spot on Victoria Island, which is not super far from me. And it's really cold apparently, but the water, you can see clean to the bottom. And there's like a waterfall in the background. I actually don't know where it is specifically, but I've seen it on TikTok. People say it's in Victoria, and I want to find it. I want to find it. I don't care. I will suffer. I'll be cold. It'll be fabulous. It'll be fabulous. It'll be fine. Okay. Okay, one more from Cora. Would you ever design your own monofin? Okay, next question. Georgia Harrelson. I've seen that the Luna straps get ripped. Do you know how that happens? Yes, I do. Let me answer that for you with the Luna that I conveniently forgot to actually bring over. So the next question is also about something. I'm gonna just stay. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Okay, here we go. That stuff's for another question. Okay, so how do the straps rip? This is a really interesting question because I feel like, why has this happened to everybody and it hasn't happened to me? I don't understand. So what it is once silicone gets a tear, like that is just gonna rip clean apart. That's just how it is. Once there's like a line, it's just gonna keep going. So what happens, I think I'm hypothesizing that people have their feet against the wall, right? And they're kicking off from the wall, but this suctions to the wall. You can see it in some of my videos if ever I've kicked off from the wall wearing this. Excuse me. And it pulls. And I think while this is trying to hold on to your foot, this is going that way, this is going this way, and that's where it rips. So I don't think this one has, because people also pick a loop and don't mess with it. Pick a loop and leave it alone. Okay? God, stop like, I'm gonna put this on my foot by undoing and doing it no. Okay? Leave it where it is. Gently use your hands to pull it over your feet. It makes me crazy. Okay. So usually, like, see, mine hasn't ripped at all. Not at all. So I can't figure it out. I mean, granted, I'm not swimming in it that much anymore, but for the longest time, it was my go-to fin. This was all I was swimming in for the longest time, so I don't know how that is happening to people, but I'm seeing people getting them ripped here. Also, it being the wrong size. If your foot's too large for it, you know, I say this with love. I have size 11 feet. My feet are bigger than my husband's. I can wear no women's shoes. There are no shoes that I can wear. I always shop in the men's section because it's a nightmare. Forget it. Shoes, no. So when I say that, I'm not being like, oh, if your feet are too big. Like, my feet literally just fit in this. I mean, but just. Thank God they're narrow, because it's hopeless otherwise. Why they only made it to a medium and not a large, just like, beyond me, okay? So it's ripping here, it's ripping here. I think people are also finding, I saw somebody had it ripped down here, which I can't imagine because it's such a stiff material here. Like, how is it happening? But that's my theory. It's my working theory. I think we have to remember that these are not, like, bulletproof. You do need to be nice to your stuff. And, like, when you're putting it back together, like, taking the time, not, like, being mean to it. Everybody wants things to last forever, and everybody wants to be able to abuse their stuff and just have it be fine, but that's just not the case, right? So you see, I did that very gently, and don't hang it by its heel straps and stuff like that. But yeah, I do plan on making one more tail for this, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to do that soon. Okay. All right. Okay, Dolarin, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. It might be Dolarin. Apologies. Would you ever make custom fin skins for Monofins? So, possibly. Maybe. I have not decided yet. So, maybe. That's my best. Okay, that was all the questions off of the Instawebs. So, close that. Let's see what else you guys have added to the collection. Sorry, I'm trying to find where I lost you guys. Ooh, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Function of Beauty because everyone is always sponsored, which is why I wanted to know. I was like, what the hell is this? Why does everybody go on and on and on about this stuff? And then there's like a few people on the internet who's like, oh, my hair fell out. And like, all my hair did not fall out. I don't know. I'm pretty sensitive to stuff, but whatever, right? So I don't know. I wanted to try it for myself, and I wanted to do it for a full year before deciding whether or not I actually want to pursue maybe a sponsorship or go ask them if they do affiliate marketing or anything like that. I was like, I just want to make sure that I'm sure, you know? Okay. Love Function of Beauty. The lengthening formula works swimmingly. Ooh, that's good to hear. Since I started trying Function of Beauty, my hair is so smooth. Yes. Oh, I love it. And the lines feel like a bit of structure for the fin. I don't know what that was referencing because I took too long to get back to the chat. I am so sorry. All right. Hello, hello. How do you sew the pocket for the Makina on my pirate's tails? Since the Makina has a completely different shape. Yeah, I do it the exact same. So I take the Makina, I stick it on top, I line up the seam fin with the heel and the foot pocket and the zipper. And once I've got everything installed, I lay it over top, I line it up again. I have a template that I follow for this. I'm not just like guessing and testing and hoping for the best. And then I trace it out, and that's how I make the shape. So the Makina foot pocket is the exact shape of the Makina, which is actually really cool. So everyone thinks that the Lucia is actually the biggest fluke for the pirate's tails. It's actually the Makina. The Makina is actually not a lot, but I would say maybe an inch bigger. Like longer and a little bit wider on the tips, and it's such a pretty shape. I really wish that one or two of the people who got it for the Makina would show me, because I really want to see it like in action. But it's really cool because it has like a little bit of extra on the side, and it kind of comes down and around, but it's otherwise the exact same principle. Possible Courtney designed Monofin. I'm dying. I'm not saying anything. I just received my first fabric tail, and I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on easy alterations I could possibly attempt in order to make my off-the-shelf tail more unique. Gosh, absolutely. Oh, that is such a good question. Yes. Okay, so first of all, we can talk fabric paint, fabric markers. Tulip paints, the puff paints with the sparkles in them are gorgeous. You can add sequins using E6000 glue and sequins. You could also, depends on how much sewing skill that you have, so please like be experienced if you're going to try this, or look up some tutorials online. But you could also seam rip open the seams and design extra fins for yourself. You could go buy some spandex or some flowy like chiffon or something. That's not going to last super well in the water, but it looks really pretty. And I know that like Mertailor used to use that like back in the day. But you could make yourself little like seam finnies. You could do the same thing and do a dorsal fin that way as well. It's a little bit awkward to sew if the tail's already sewn together, so just like keep that in mind. But yeah, like sequins, the tulip dots are a great way to add a little bit of extra sparkle and detail. You can find those online. I do actually have like everything that I'm mentioning should be in my Amazon shop, so there should be in the description box down below, there should be like a link, and like under tail making, I think it's under like tail making tools or something. I'll have a lot of different ideas for you. And like fabric paints, you could get Lumiere fabric paint, because they have like metallic colors. You could do scale tipping. You could get like a gold or a silver and do like scale tipping on all of your scales, or just a few here and there. What else? What else could you do? I think off the top of my noggin, I feel like those are probably a couple of key things you could do. Okay, I bet it would be the most comfortable Monofin ever. You bet right. Yes. I had my Luna rip when I let some teens I trusted use it. No. Okay, so it is fixable, kind of, sort of. Oh gosh, if Katie's still here, you know the stuff that it's called. What's the stuff that you gave me for my tail? Oh, why can't I think of what it's called? Silpoxy. There it is. Just like loading, am I right? Silpoxy, you can actually repair minor damage on, I think Nerdmaid Faith also did some repairs on her Luna as well. So there should be like details floating around. I want to make a video on how to do it, except I don't really want to like purposefully break my Luna, but I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't had theirs have an issue. Like I don't understand. I feel like I'm rough on my stuff too. Not that I feel left out or anything, but like, you know. Hello from the Southern Salish Sea. Love your work, your artistic prowess, your bubbly, honest personality, and your willingness to guide others through their journeys. Oh, keep being you. Thank you, Fishy. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, all the love. I feel like Courtney having big feet is such a struggle, and finding cute shoes in my size, it's not next to impossible. It really is. It's like a nightmare. It's horrible. I hate shoe shopping. I would rather just walk around barefoot. Like, I quit. I give up. It's not even fair. So what ripped on my fin is the strap part, not the knob part. I never did what you were showing, and I have a 1 centimeter tear. I can't get my hand on Silpoxy, so I'm being very gentle and checking it after every swim so that it doesn't get worse. Yeah, for sure. Oh, man. I did lend my fin to my brother once, though, and his feet are larger. Like, that, any, like, consistent pressure on it, if it's used rough, like, not, I say rough. I don't think you're going out of your way to be rough with it. Is that falling off my wall? Oh my god. Sorry. Okay, well, I'll have to fix that at some point, because my trident is falling off of my wall. I didn't notice that. That's really scary. I hope it doesn't fall in the middle of my live stream. That'd be kind of shitty. But yeah, like the little holes, where is it? You're talking about the little in here, like this part maybe, or like any of this kind of area. Yeah. I think they could have, if they could have done like a power mesh, like a strip of power mesh, I think that might have helped. Or just not had options for the, and like made different sizes. I don't know. There's thoughts. Okay. You're bored, and this is the closest I can get to not being bored. Congratulations. Definitely a Makina fan too. So much Noom. Yes. Okay. I really think, not wanting to gaslight the experience, but if their hair fell out, maybe it's a problem coming from the formula they chose. I think, like, there are people on the internet who've had other shampoo and stuff cause hair loss, and, like, Also, obviously, look for what's the most like likely cause that it could be. If you change something and all of a sudden your hair starts falling out, like let's hit that first. But there's other things that could also factor into hair loss. A lot of other things that could factor into hair loss. The one thing that I will note is because my shampoo, like it's such great shampoo, I wash my hair like maybe once, twice a week, like tops. So obviously when I go to wash my hair, I do notice that I'm losing more hair. But it's just because I'm not like working it out of my head and it's coming out in small amounts. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Like my hair is still really thick. Like I still have a lot of hair. So I don't really get it, but hey, whatever. Okay, let me see here. I have a question, Courtney, for beginners. What do you suggest we do for help to strengthen our ankles? I went for a swim today and my ankles felt like they were going to snap in half. Honestly, just the more that you do it, the easier it will get. But it's going to depend. So if you're having ankle pain, first of all, which fin are you using? And then how are you swimming? Because ideally, all of your momentum and everything is actually from the core of your body. And your legs and your ankles and stuff should be part of that follow through. You shouldn't be like flapping your feet to try and like kicky or anything like that. So that could be part of it. I have like functional problems with my knees. So like my knee doesn't sit like nice and on top of each other. It actually sits out like askew, which I didn't know until a few years back. My physiotherapist was like, "Do you ever get knee pain?" I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Do you ever get knee pain?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Well, because none of this is lining up correctly." I'm like, "Thank you. And you want me to do what about this?" There's like nothing I could do. So I do get knee pain from time to time. I've never gotten really ankle pain per se. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure like I'm still a little bit behind on the chat. So I'm sure when I get further down, maybe I'll see. The sewn lines. Oh, okay. Lines on the extended make it look like structure of the fish fin. Yes. I do try and make it like matchy thread so that it's not as obvious. And from a distance, it's definitely not obvious, like on video and such. You can't see like it is there. And I made that pretty clear. Like I've shown these tails up close. But once the fin is actually in it, because the fin has a bit of thickness, it kind of puffs it out. And you don't really see the line because the line kind of sits like in between a little bit. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. You got footage of you fixing yours. Excellent, Faith. Maybe if you want to share that somewhere, that would be swell. Hello Fishy. Merbella's has a great video on Silpoxy repair. Awesome. Someone even glued a strap that was just torn away with Silpoxy and it seemed to last. Yes, Silpoxy. Yes, it's good. I feel like I've totally lost the chat here. Okay, what do you think was your best innovation when it comes to tail making? Either something that has made your life easier or made something even prettier. I don't know if you could really call it an innovation, but it is something that I do differently than other tail makers or fabric tail makers for the most part. I think I'm the only one that does this. I know there's one person who does this commercially now as well. I had the rolled over waistband. That was mine. That was me. I was the first one to do that. I'm fine. Totally fine. So rolled over waistband so that you don't have a line across your tummy, right? So that was one thing. Another thing that I do is I actually sew my dorsal fins like flat. I don't actually cut the fabric and put them on the inside, which means that I don't have any scales doing weird things. You don't get any extra like line up at the top. It looks really nice. And it really just like adheres it well. Plus when you're sitting, you don't have like a chunky ridge right in your butt crack, because I'm sure that would feel amazing. I just was like, no, that's not going to be a thing. I had that for my goldfish tail. My goldfish tail, the dorsal fin was actually sewn, like cut into the fabric and sewn in and then stitched down. And every time you have to sit or like it touches the back of my legs and it's like, oh, why? Why is this a thing? So, but yeah, that's what that looks like. So naturally, all my dorsal fins will have kind of an inclination to kind of go to one side. Think of it kind of like a horse's mane. Like it'll have the side that it kind of wants to go to. And then one last innovation, which was actually new for this mermaid tail, is I actually sewed my heel fins on upside down, and or like reverse. So that's how they're sewn down, and so that they naturally always want to roll over this way. You don't see any kind of a line, and it hides my heels perfectly. This is the only way I will do heel fins from now on. I will make sure that that's just the thing because it looks so good. I've also thought it might be interesting to do these guys, sew them down so that this line is actually on this is on the other side. I don't know how well that would work for these, but it's something I've been thinking about, and I might try on the next version of this tail when not version, but the next print of this tail. 'Cause yes. Okay. Courtney, I was wondering if there was a way, if I ordered a tail from you, if you could expand the Makina into a very rounded beta fish tail shape. Absolutely, yeah. So it's a range in price for the expanded Fluke. Depending on how much larger we want to go, there may be an additional charge for it, but all of the information, like I can custom tails, I can do whatever you want. Like if you can imagine it, we can make it happen. So that's like, it's fun, and obviously there's an application process, and I try to take tails that I can get really excited about and I feel like I'll be a good fit for. But yeah, it is possible to do like whatever you want. We find a way to make it happen. Like it's good. The shape of Makina, it's impossible. No, it won't. Nothing is impossible. We can figure out a way. Like we might have to get a little bit creative, and the shape of the Monofin versus the shape of the Fluke, like the actual fabric part of the Fluke, might mean when you swim with it creates an interesting shape. So these are things that you want to think about. Ideally, we always keep the Fluke like to matchy with like the bones of the mermaid of the Monofin, but anything is possible. And I believe that. Oh, Mermaid Seamstress was the one who said the Merbellas has a great video on Silpoxy. Hello, Fishy. How's it going? I have a trident. Yes, I do. I showed it in my studio tour. So if you haven't seen that video, you can watch that video. It's in there. Oops. I lost my spot again. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm going as quick as I can to get through all of these. My tail has long tail tips and tend to rub against the bottom of the pool. Do you happen to know if there's some kind of coating to prevent wear? A coating to prevent wear. You know, not one that I think looks particularly good. I know that FinFun has a coating of some kind that they adhere to their fabric, the tips of their tails. Honestly, like, the best thing that you can do is to, if you're designing your own tail, for example, is to think about this in advance and know that you need to factor it into your design. So this was something I was telling the Patreon pod about this. For this tail, because I knew I wanted to have a high level of contrast in this area and in the ribbing on the side, I actually designed this so that it would look even better with the scuffs. I'm crazy like that, but I decided, if all of this is going to get fluffy eventually, because it happens to all mermaid tails. Nobody is exempt from this. It does not matter what you are rocking. It will sustain damage. This is a fact. And I feel like if I have to yell this from the highest tower in the land until everybody on the internet comprehends that this is white fabric, oh my god, if you know what I'm talking about, you know. It wasn't something that happened to me, but like, it's tea, okay? It's white fabric, right? So like damage is gonna happen. So if you can kind of think of it ahead of time, how I used to handle it on other tails was that I'd actually put sequins, like tulip dots and sequins, in the hopes that they would take the damage and then my tail would be kind of sacrificed. But this, like literally what I did, I just designed it with fluff. Like I actually made myself like a texture, a skin texture that I knew would look good as this tail starts to get loved. So that's what I did. Now I know not everybody has that for a thing that they can do when it comes to tail making. I feel like I want to give a lecture on this somewhere. Are there people who would listen to me if I made like a class in mermaid tail making? I don't know. Maybe not, but yeah. I think so. That's like the main thing for tail makers, I think, to be aware of. Now, as far as a coating for you, like, I don't know what you could try. Unfortunately, I haven't really got an answer for that, because anything that you add to it, if you're going to add like a glue or a layer of silicone or something, like that will get damaged and it will have its own series of issues. You know, so it's something to think on, though. Something to think on. Hi, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Hello, hello. Do I use the Makina for open water swimming? I don't personally use the Makina for anything except tail making. So people like the Makina, so I offer it as an option, but I personally, it's not for me. If it's for you, it's totally fine. I think for open ocean swimming, like, I mean, obviously there's risks associated with open water swimming no matter where you're going. Be aware of currents and things. A stiffer blade is better for you know, currents and like larger bodies of water, but safety training is always a must. And I've seen people use the Makina in the ocean, so I feel like it must be usable with practice, right? I'm still a pretty new mer. What are good ways to get connected to the community? Do you guys do meetups? There are like different pods will do meetups like all over the place. That's absolutely a thing. You're in the right place if you're looking for community, by the way. If you haven't joined my Facebook group, I do have a Facebook group. Courtney Mermaids Pod Facebook group, I think is what it's called. It should be linked in the description box down below. You can join there. The Patreon pod is also great if you'd like to support what it is that I'm doing and you'd like a more so like closely knit little family over on Discord, and I do live streams and all of that good stuff almost daily. So that's a great way to kind of get involved. But, you know, mostly it's like Google searching like your area mermaid group and starting to like weed through and kind of figure out who's doing what where. But welcome. I'm happy to have new mermaids here. Okay. I did some research on enforced tail tips, and Odie coat sounded promising to me, but I haven't tried it yet. That's cool. I have no idea what that is. I kind of want to look it up, but let's... Gel coating. How to use Odie coat to make your fabric waterproof. Ooh, did we just discover something new? Maybe I should try it. Okay, we're gonna star this. We're gonna star this for later. Very cool. Okay, sweet. I got to see one of the Pirates of the Caribbean tales in person, and at last meetup. Oh my goodness, Courtney, you did such a fantastic job on those. They're gorgeous. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Oh man, thank you. Oh, I was using my feet to propel me. Using the Mermaid Linden, so completely repels water. My ankles were crying. Yes. Okay, so with the Linden, you really want to roll through. I cannot go very fast in my Linden because I get like... That's a lie. I can now. When I was first starting, I couldn't go fast at all. I had to go very slow and very fluid. Like, really imagine... Who has a good video on this? I feel actually, you know who has a really good video on this? Mermaid Echo has an amazing video of this on their YouTube channel. Of how to do the roll, the dolphin kick. I hope they still have it up. I think if you do like a YouTube search, Mermaid Echo, dolphin kick, or mermaid kick, I think you're going to find something that will be helpful to you. They have the most amazing full body roll though. You all know who I'm talking about, right? Mermaid Echo, we all know. What, like, you know what I mean? And they know, because I've messaged them before and been like, you're amazing, do you know that? So good, so beautiful. It's amazing to hear how much detail and thought you put into your pieces. Yes, I'm a little bit extra when it comes to making mermaid tails. I think that's like the best way to describe me. I really get super into it, and I want it to be, I want to recreate that feeling. You know that feeling, right? Like when you see a mermaid for the first time in like a movie, and for a split second you're like, wait a second, what? Or you're like, oh, how did they do that? Like, I want to create that magic for everybody. Because I want it, and I get to have it like all the time because it's what I do. So yes. Do you make tails for the Iconx Monofin? What is the Iconx Monofin? What is that? Let's look it up. Ooh, that's not how you spell Monofin, Courtney. I don't. Okay, so that's one that's sort of similar to like a fin fun. I don't make. And I haven't actually received a lot of requests for that one. So I make tails for what do I make tails for? Hi, the Fish Fin by Lucia, the Luna, the Makina, the Linden. Is there anybody else down there? No, that's it. Oh, there was one question I didn't answer on here, actually. I had somebody, and I remember it now. Sorry, I just realized I didn't want to forget this one. Did I? Hang on. Oh, people have added more now. That's probably why it got bumped. Somebody wanted to know what I actually put and the inside of... Where was it? Did I just imagine this? I imagined this, obviously. I must have just imagined this. I could have sworn somebody asked me what was inside my my mermaid tail, the Fluke. Okay, here it is. So Onyx the water dragon wanted to know what's inside the Fluke of Stitch. Okay, so I do actually have it here. See, that I was like, why haven't I shown this yet? So, originally, I got this, like, okay, this is all prototypes, which is why it looks like poo. So just keep that in mind. So this is actually what was on the inside of Stitch. There you go. It's like horribly bent and mangled now. It's a very thin vinyl that you use for like patio stuff, window sealant on like boats and stuff. Like it's not like great, a great thickness, but I wanted to try it and it created such a cool flow in the water. But yeah, this is what was in there originally. I had two little nubbins to hold it together. You can see that it ripped like pretty substantially though. And that's how I did it. And I just had Velcro that was the self-adhesive Velcro, and it worked really well. It hasn't come off. It's like bonded now, so I don't think I'll be able to get them really apart. But yeah, that's what was inside of Stitch. I figure I'll just tell you guys now because I never ended up making a video talking about it. I may still. Okay, this is the new stuff that I put inside Stitch, and this is really heavy. This is the thickest vinyl that you can get on the market. It is really very thick. Like it's, I think the same thickness as like a quarter, like the coin. It's very thick stuff. And here we go. Let's stick it together. And I used shoelaces to hold it together. Oh my god, this is such a nightmare. I don't know how you people with your vinyl inserts, like, I quit. Like, no, this is not a thing. So I used, with this one, so that was for the Luna, the other one. This one was for use with the shooter, and I actually had a tie in the middle to hold it down to keep it from opening, and then two ties on either side, plus the Velcro. And then the Velcro was the self-adhesive, so it's not actually like sewn down or anything, because like how the hell would you sew through this? Like you'd have to be crazy. And then I just used the Velcro to like adhere it. And honestly, this works really well in that tail. It works really well. I like this stuff more than the thin stuff in terms of durability and like comfort and such. But honestly, vinyl inserts, that's a whole other kettle of fish. That's a whole other kettle of fish. What a nightmare. Nope. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just scoot down to the bottom because we are getting towards the end of the video. So I'm gonna try and catch up on a few other ones on here. I'm really glad to have found this community. There are so many unique personalities and concepts. Never a dull moment. Heck yes, I love it. I'm so happy to be around all these other mers. I love it. Belly dancing helps a lot with the dolphin kick. Yes, it absolutely does. Mermaid Echo is like an otter so fluid in the water. They're amazing. They really are. Like I could honestly watch Mermaid Echo. I kind of, you know what they should do? they should make like one of those underwater ambient videos that's like 2 or 3 hours long and just like film themselves from like a distance and have that be. I would just leave that on all the time. Maybe I'm weird. I am a little weird, but it would be amazing. 100%. I'd be here for it. They're so amazing. They absolutely are. Love all your work. Love it, girl. Thank you. Hey, fishies. Hello, hello. They still have the video up. Okay, excellent. 100% recommend. 100% recommend. I bought a tail online and it looks really good, but it's the Monofin. Is it possible to buy another Monofin and put it in? Yes. It depends. It depends on the Monofin shape. Some will just kind of work closely together. Like the Linden and the Luna are of a very similar nature and can sometimes work in each other's tail skins and or fin skins and things. And, you know, it depends if it's an open shape. Like the Lucia and the Makina are kind of similar, but one is feels a little bit like wider, is a bit more of like an oblong kind of a shape, and the other one's more like woo. So it really depends on the Monofin. You did the texture thing on the fin skins and it works fantastically. I've noticed that it helps disguise the damage. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. I did it. That was actually like the little bit of the guinea pig test for this tail. I wanted to see, you know, what that texture looks like. And here I took it to like a whole other level. There's, I think, 4 or 5 layers of like detail in the texture. And I just really wanted the fuzz to actually almost make it look better, like to add to it. I know that's crazy, but you have to think about this kind of stuff as a tail maker. That's how I innovate. That's how I'm doing things differently, right? A mermaid tail making class absolutely would listen for hours. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. With all your experience on materials, would you say the best, what would you say is the best to use for sublimation tail printing? So I bring my stuff to a company that does it. I provide them with the fabric and the designs, and then they print my designs onto the fabric. So I'm not totally sure if you're referring to like the paints, the sublimation printing, like ink paints that I like. Permaset Aqua is awesome, and you can use those with a brush and paint them directly onto fabric. It's a little weird to do it on this stuff directly because it has a water repellent coating. So you're like, please stick, please go. Oh, thank you for the answers. You're so welcome. Someone recommended to me the other day dipping the tips of the Fluke in wax to prevent damage. However, it would be cold water only. Yeah. Suntails told me to put silicone on the bottom and mine, and it looked so bad. Yeah. See, that's where I'm like, I don't know. It's just like questionable, right? How do you swim in vinyls? With great difficulty. Honestly, So those were 2 dummy tests that I did. And like, to be totally honest, this is not something I'll offer because for me, the experience of swimming in a mermaid tail is as important, if not more important, than what I actually look like, and I want it to be fun. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want foot cramps. I don't want to feel miserable because my tail is like way too heavy and clunky and loud underwater, because you could hear that stuff underwater too, eh? You could hear the vinyl inserts like cracking and like, no. No. I gotta work on your core more. I feel that. I need to as well. Mermaid Echo Ambience, didn't know I needed. I know, you didn't know you needed it until I said it now, right? But could you picture it? Like the next time they go to like the springs or something, or even if they've got footage from that, like park the camera, like stationary, just like park it somewhere and just swim around it. I really want to make an ambient swimming video where it's just like I've stuck the camera and then I'm just swimming around for however long, and all you have are like the natural sounds of the water, maybe some gentle, you know, pan flute music or something in the background. I don't know. But yeah. Have you heard anything from your legging supplier on bigger sizes? So I switched providers a long time ago because I got sick of it. I got sick of waiting for them to they're just dawdling their feet, being like, oh yeah, we're looking into it. Like, no, you're not. Don't lie. Don't be shitty. Come on. So I actually switched providers like 2 years ago. Is that right? 2 years ago, I guess. It was like right around when the pandemic started, and I was like, we're doing this differently. So I actually do offer plus size leggings. I offer sizes, like if we go in really quick and go check, from extra small up to, I think it's, let me just see here. I just don't want to say it before I know for sure. Yeah, up to 6XL. So yeah, I've got all the sizes now. So from extra small up to 6XL. So now we're covered. I just, like, it made me crazy. I'm like, you cannot tell me. Like, the large of the old supplier and the extra large both fit me. And excuse you, yes, I'm like 5'9" and a bit, almost 5'10", sure. Okay? I'm like 170 plus pounds, fine. Great. Okay? But, like, if to look at, like, why is this the only shape? I don't understand. Somebody make it make sense, please. I can't with it. It just makes me crazy. I just feel like, why are bodies not just appreciated and just make the sizes that people are asking you for? Like, I had been not harassing them, but I'd been bugging them about it for years. Being like, so I'm getting feedback and people would like a better selection of sizes. And they're like, yeah, you know, we can't really do that right now. Or like, yeah, we're looking into it. I'm like, okay. You know? You're curious about the fabric that I use. It's polyester spandex, and it's thick. It's thick, and it's so soft. You could just scream. Like, it's just everything. It's my favorite. It's my favorite stuff. And I used to give the information very freely on the internet and used to tell people, like, where I get all of my everything. And unfortunately, here's the truth of the matter, right? When I did that, suddenly I couldn't get access to my old suppliers. I don't use those suppliers anymore, but I couldn't get access to my fabric anymore. And it meant that I just wasn't able to do my job for a good chunk of the while there. And it took a long time to find somebody new. And, you know, so I'm very sorry. I wish it wasn't so. I wish that this was just readily available at every corner store. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me crazy. Do you think if enough of us bring up the ambience idea to Echo, they'll do it? Like, I don't know. I feel like we could all just message and ask and be like, hey, she just really wants this. I don't know. I feel like they are so beautiful to watch. Like, they are truly one of the most beautiful swimmers. I just, you know, like, teach me all of your magic, please. Okay, do you ever just lay around indoors watching TV or browsing the internet with your tail on? I don't do that, like, routinely, but sometimes after I finish a new tail for myself, like, I'll put it on and I'll just sit in it for, like, a while and, like, surf TikTok and just be silly. Dude, I was just gifted a 360 camera, and can you imagine an ambience video in 360? Please do that. This is the I request it of you now. Go, 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 go. Do I know what the GSM count of the fabric is? Offhand, I actually don't, but it's high. It's very high. I wish I could think of what it is offhand. It is higher though. It's a super thick fabric. Very heavy. Okay. As a transgender woman who is 6'3", 6'4", and 165 to 170 pounds, it's interesting for leggings or bottoms in general. For sure. I didn't know you were that tall. Oh my gosh. Love tall. I love to be tall. Tall mermaids unite. You share so much of your process, Courtney. Don't feel bad about protecting some info that keeps the business going. I just wish that everybody felt like you about that, because, like, not everybody feels like that. Like, people get mad at me and they're like, why won't you tell me where you get your stuff printed? And then, oh, you're so selfish and this and that. I'm like, you know, this is my job, right? Like, you know, this is my only source of income now. Like, I do this, like, since we last had a Tail Talk Tuesday, like, I do this full time. I make mermaid tails and do the YouTube and all of the things full time. There is nothing else. There is no plan B. There is only plan A. So I do have to be a little bit, it's like, you wouldn't go to like, I don't know, Nike and be like, hey, I demand to know, like, or I don't know, or any other artist, like, I demand to know exactly how you do this and all of your tools and all of your everything. You know? Makes me crazy. Okay, about the scuffing, I used a fabric in a color that matches so scuffs won't show up. Orange fabric for a painted H2O. See? Brilliant. See, you're thinking ahead of it. Yes, absolutely. So far, I haven't had the chance to use it, but I'm crossing my fins. It's really good. If you're going to do a painted tail and you want to have your base fabric be more matchy-matchy, just know that like some pigments of the screen printing ink are a little bit more likely to be translucent. But if you get some scrap, do a couple of tests, factor it in, you're gonna save yourself such a pain. Like, people will be like, oh, but it's, you know, oh, this tail, like, it's scuffed after one swim and blah, blah, blah. And not to me, thank God, because I try to make this clear. This should be like, I don't have the time to touch on it right now because it's 12:30 and I'm actually supposed to be wrapping this up right now. But like, there was somebody who went off on a tail making company and said after 2 swims my tail was totally destroyed, and showing the situation. And first of all, you can see it's a different kind of fabric that is going to be one that is more prone to being a little bit sensitive. It's fabric, it's not Kevlar. It's fabric. If you take your arm and go smear it on the sidewalk, what do you think is gonna happen? If you do it with your shirt or your jeans, what do you think? It's not like it's rocket science here. It will get damaged. This is a fact of life. I really do want to make a video talking about it, but I have a fear of this particular mermaid. Like, I'm run. You know? No. So, yeah. People are not entitled to your knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing what you do. I try to share a lot of it, right? Like, I try to share, like, the whole, like, making of, because I do feel that the knowledge should be for all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would have actually, like, I would have sold my soul for this information when I was first getting into mermaiding. If there had been a book out there, I would have been like, please. So I do have ebooks on my shop, like how to make the extra fins, and how I want to do a follow-up for like dorsal fins and like a few other, like the pockets, like advanced tail making stuff, whatever. But just the few small things that I just can't share. And those are just the 2 things, are just where I get my fabric from, and where I get my stuff printed. And I just, like, it's 2 things that literally you can Google search, you know? So, okay. All right, I'm about to have to wrap this up. Kevlar mermaid tails, like, yeah, right? I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. Do I have a gold tail color scheme for sale? I don't. Actually, I've done a couple of gold tails. I haven't done one recently, though. Mental note for the future. Mental note for the future. But yeah, I do try. I do feel sad for people who have either been given the wrong impression of what a mermaid tail can actually withstand, or they have expectations that are have been made to be too high, or there's just designers or tail makers out there who haven't discovered that there's little sneaky things that you can do to make your tails look like they're just lasting forever. Like, this tail is like, what, almost 5 years, really hits herself in the face with it. It's like almost 5 years old. I wore this so bloody much. Can you actually see? Hang on, where are the heels? So that's the damage. Here and here. Okay? So obviously I pill shave my tails and I take good care of them. But like this is, I thought of that in advance. With this tail, I didn't give it the dark ribbing down the side because I didn't want to deal with that. You can see that it's got fuzz, and I made this white because I knew that this area, just based off of my experience making mermaid tails, that this area gets damaged. And same thing, like if you've got ribbing, if your mermaid tail, or your monofin rather, has ribbing on it, which 90% of them do, like even flat ones, like Are there actually any? I think maybe the Mertailor 4, but I think there's still text on it that is raised. Right? So you can see there's like a little bit of damage here. My poor baby. Mwah. But yeah, so, well, on that for a note though, I just think that like I should maybe do a video or something talking about it, but I'm scared to because this particular person scares me a lot. And there's something you shouldn't admit on the internet, but like I'm just the terror, right? The terror. And I just want people to know that there's a way to take care of your mermaid tail. There's a way to design it, to care for it, to maintain it, and all of these things. There's lots of sneaky little tricks and things that you can do, you know? So, okay. Well, that has been a fantastic Tail Talk Tuesday. Let me know in the comments section if we should do this again. Be sure to give the live a thumbs up if you have not already to let me know that you enjoyed it. And maybe we do this again soon-ish. If you want to hang out with me more often, though, the Patreon pod is also an excellent place to go and do that. There is a link in the description box down below if you would like. We do them almost daily. And it's like hanging out, I'm working on tails, or I'm designing tails, or I'm just chatting with you guys, or whatever. We've got the private Discord community chat, which is excellent. A great resource, as well as a wonderful place to just hang out, make some friends. We've got mermaids from all over the planet. It's awesome. It's such a good time. And yeah, and if you're just looking for sort of like the stepping stone into all of that, I also have a Facebook group, so you can join that. Everything is in the description box, as always. Okay, this is going to be a really awkward goodbye because I actually have to like turn around and like turn this off. So I love you, my fishes, so much. Thank you so much for your support, for coming out, and I look forward to hanging out with you all again super soon. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to very awkwardly slide out of frame and turn this off. Okay, bye you guys. I have no idea how to end this. Like, none whatsoever. So just 2 seconds, as I'm super awkward. Okay. Hang on. How do I do it? I don't know how to do it. End stream.